This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Gaz, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. How you doing? Hi. Let me make sure I got all the stuff up. I think we got it. How are you doing? This is Colteastwood. This is the X&C Podcast. I got to say one thing before we get the show started, and I told the people that I love that I would get real close to the camera for this, but I got to say it. Grounded from Obsidian is probably the best game I've played in a long time, and it's better than anything PlayStation's first party has put out so far this year. Welcome to the show. How are you doing? How's it going, guys?
Sorry. Oh, I've got autotune. Wait, can you repeat that again? Did you say... Ladies and gentlemen, this man's views may never represent mine. Did you say Grounded is better than anything PlayStation has put out this year?
First party, yeah, I think so. I think so. In my opinion, absolutely, yeah, I think it's better, far better. I think it is. I think Grounded's better than Gran Turismo 7, and I think it's better than Horizon Forbidden West. How about that? What do you think? You think somebody's gonna come and just grab me by the back of my shirt and drag me across the room? Huh? You think they're gonna do it? Welcome to the show, everybody. Let me check chat, make sure everything's good. When I started the show, some buttons were a little different. Don't you hate it when you get old and they change technology on you? But we're so happy to be here. Gaz, how are you doing this fine week?
Hi. Sorry. Did you just say? Okay. No.
Did you go in the other room? Did you go in the other room just to see what I was talking about?
Don't you have another monitor to see what I'm doing anymore? Wow.
You know what?
Can you embellish on that? Sorry.
I am going to do that. I've got a spot here. I'm going to do that. That way I can see what you're doing, because on my screen you're going, how are you doing, guys?
Right. So Grounded is better than Horizon and Gran Turismo in your eyes. Sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've got 450 hours to prove it, but what does it matter? It's always an opinion, right? Well, this is the X&C Podcast, I should say, and I'm the host, Colteastwood, and this is a show that we run on the Colteastwood channel. You're also listening to us on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, audio only, and hopefully that comes across as you've got the American Colteastwood, and then you've got the British guy, Gaz, from Game On Daily, who runs a news aggregate site and has his own live podcast. Yeah, we like all gamers whatever, if they like PlayStation or not. Right? We love them all. But Gaz, how you been this week? And what have you been playing?
I was good until you just gave me a hernia after what you just said. But I've been good. I've been enjoying the fruits of multiple platforms. I've been playing on PlayStation. Spider-Man 2018 is overrated. I've been playing on Xbox. Proteus is a great game. And yeah, just getting swimming in the sauce, watching Sony fumble, giving me more material for some sauce. I'm sure we'll talk about it, because now this show is called SNC, Sony Newscast. Let's do it.
It really has the past month. And just to give everybody a fair warning here, we got over 300 people who are just checking in the show. There will be some talk about what PlayStation is doing. And all in all, as you get to take a step back, PlayStation has been fumbling in some of their messaging, some of their direction. They've had a really great generation, but I think both platforms right now have taken one step forward and two steps back. And we're going to talk about that today, because a good chunk of the show is about where Xbox is taking some interesting steps away or to the side, little sidestep. I don't know. Before we get into that, I do have to talk about the people that make this channel and this podcast possible, besides lovely guys. But shout out to my channel Patreons, veterans, and channel members: Brian Harris, Mark Carwell, KY Bob, Assassin Lupa, Jazzy Newtbox, Recky Fallon, Stephen Smith, Christine Maurice Baker, Matt Without Fear, Matt Burns, William Lanza, Nano Polymath, Udani Kazada, Robert Jackson, Lord Starkiller, Dante Moody, Betamax, Dark CMF, Gaz, Fox Storytelling, Wreak Havoc, Fault Line, Zitter White. I got to put somebody in there with a really great sounding name too. Devario 2 Gaming, DeBlue, Poochie, Remix Gaming, V Simcoe, Assassin, Raymond G, Dub, Larry Thatcher, Hargeet, Chani, TK, Chillin, Raiden Blade, Acute Perspective, True 77, Risky for the Biscuit, Widjus and Tasso, and 2 new people I added today, Greg Loudon and CJAD93. Thank you for supporting the channel and, being there when I put out a video and you're like the first ones to comment. Thank you so much. And Gaz is one of them. Thank you guys. Thank you for everybody. Zocker's in the chat and he says that I had the cajones. What's a good word to use for that? Cajones. The cajones. Yeah. No, I mean it. I really do. I would truly say I've tried to play Horizon Forbidden West twice. I keep picking it back up on my PlayStation 5 and I'm like, I feel like I just did this. But Grounded is a whole new experience and it sounds weird saying that, but I'll stand up for it. Hey, maybe somebody will clip it and put it on Twitter. It'd be great. But speaking of Twitter and all the mess that goes on, Gaz, we were talking about some new games that we were playing and sharing some clips on Twitter, and you were playing a hot little retro style game that I said, hey, Gaz, check this out. Tell the good people about what you were playing on Game Pass.
Yeah, so a game which I'd like to think I'd have bought anyway, but thanks to Game Pass cost me nothing and feels kind of dirty because it's so good. Please don't. Well, a lot of you. It depends on who you are. The game in question is called Proteus, and it's a great game. And it all immediately appealed to the older, Jeff Grubb called it a boomer shooter because it's for boomers who liked Doom.
Gen X, but whatever.
It modernizes the controls, the visuals, like even with pixelized, but still 3D with really cool effects, really good art style. It's great soundtrack. It reminded me of like the old Quake and old Doom. And it's just a great game, especially if you're chilling in a party chat, talking to your mates and just blasting through. And it's just enjoyable and it's a really good game. So I've been playing that quite a bit. Also tried another game, which was a platformer. I forget. It starts with M. Chat, you'll remind me. That was really good. Game Pass is just a gem with these kind of things. I know it's a shilly line, but really it has changed so much. I get to experience so much. And tomorrow we've got a game that I didn't get to play with you guys because I was so in the middle of house moves. It was Chivalry 2, isn't it? That's coming out tomorrow on Game Pass?
Yes, Chivalry 2, which is a crazy game. I actually should hold this gameplay for just a minute. I thought that I actually want to show this in a minute, but Chivalry 2 is hilarious. It is so cool. I played the first one a bunch and then played a little bit of the second one, and it's that whole thing where you get in with your friends and it's just competitive mayhem. So I was surprised to hear just like an hour before the show started that Chivalry 2's come to Game Pass, like you said. So there's been a lot of these stealth drops for Game Pass.
I think we take it for granted. I think we take Game Pass for granted now because I see on Twitter all the time, is this on Game Pass? I'm like, but it goes to show how amazing Game Pass is that there's a bit of I feel like people are spoiled and they're like, when is this coming to Game Pass? I'm like, it just kind of annoys me. Like, you're getting so much. You're being ungrateful because I've said it before on this show. Feels like piracy. It's like when I had PlayStation 1 chipped and had all these games. Now I have all these games, a backlog that's infinite, and Game Pass just adds to it. So Chivalry 2, I would have bought it, but now that comes on Game Pass, you know what's going to happen. Tomorrow, player numbers are going to shoot up again, reinvigorate the game. Great for the developers.
There's 20, almost 30 million subscribers, so there's going to be a big resurgence for Chivalry 2. I'm excited. I want to pull an audible real quick because I'm looking at the chat talking about something different. Like they're on their own conversation while we're talking about these new games that are coming. They're talking about that Logitech gaming handheld, and there's some people who are saying good things and some people in chat who are saying bad things. Like Void Rat says it's too expensive. Right now, you can get the Logitech G. I forgot what it's called. I even pre-ordered it. You can get it for $250 with a code. Well, you could, the other day. They had a September code where they basically took $100 off the price of the first retail MSRP. But Gaz, I want to talk about this. You're a Steam Deck owner. You're not really a handheld gamer, and I'm not either. So I think we'd actually have an interesting perspective to bring to the other people who are begging Xbox to make a handheld. What can you tell us about this Logitech thing? What does it do and what doesn't it do?
I mean, it's predominantly cloud-based device, and really it seemed Microsoft's pushing it to push a complementary device on at home, play on Wi-Fi to enjoy your Game Pass library, albeit all on cloud. And that's where you see the detractors in the comments who I do agree. I think it's too expensive, especially compared to Steam Deck, when that's a few dollars, $50 or more. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck. Cloud is still, the tech feels at its infancy, but it depends on how hardcore an Xbox person you are, or if you have kids who want to play games and you can give that to them and they can play remotely. There's a lot of utility. It depends on who you are. I bought the Steam Deck, but I have to return it because the power button's not working, which is annoying. But I will buy it for the emulation predominantly, so I can play Jet Set Radio Future. Why is there no remaster of Jet Set Radio Future? God. But yeah, I mean, there's not much you can talk about. The Logitech, Phil Spencer sent one to Hideo Kojima today.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. It annoyed some people again. It's just like, these two are in bed with each other again. It shows a bigger friendship fostering Microsoft and Kojima Studios. It is what it is.
You can do whatever you want. If you hire somebody, you can... It's not like a conflict of interest as far as ethics are involved. He can buy him whatever he wants. It's not like... Well, if Kojima's happy working with Xbox, if he enjoys the atmosphere, then he'll just continue making games. And I guess if you're a PlayStation-only guy, that might make you mad. As far as this Logitech handheld, I got to say one thing. I ordered one. I don't know if I'm going to hold on to the pre-order. I kind of like, well, I'll grab this deal. It's basically $100 off MSRP. I don't even know if I'll use it. But, guys, isn't it true that you can't have these things for $100 or less than $200? I think... the screen and the lithium battery and all the other components in there, I just don't think it's easy to... I think it would be cheaper than that if it was possible. I think some of the parts in handhelds are what make them so expensive. The Steam Deck is basically about $500 for a reason. Yeah. It's got this great APU in it. It's got a really nice screen. It's got really great control, sticks that, all that stuff costs money. A wireless controller is $50, right? Or $60, right? Yeah. And then a little mini screen is, $50, right? So when you kind of put it together, you're like, okay, I can see why these handhelds are so cheap. And even the Nintendo Switch is $300 or $200 at its base. So I don't know.
The pricing, I'm sure, is dictated by component prices. You still ultimately get a lot of bang for your buck. But with Logitech being a cloud-only device and you being able to play it on your phone, for me, it's just like the price is too steep. I'd like to have tried it, but it is what it is. But someone in chat might like it, or people may enjoy it. But apparently, I'm hearing the pre-orders aren't that healthy or strong for that time.
Yeah,
so
not what they wanted.
I'm not surprised about. I don't know. I don't know anyone apart from you who's pre-ordered it.
I didn't get one for free. I told you I probably won't use it. I probably won't. In fact, I kind of justify it like, hey, maybe I'll mess around with it a little bit, and maybe my son can use it from time to time. And I don't know.
Honestly, cancel that. Get the Steam Deck and let your son play Jet Set Radio Future. Play the old original Xbox games, PlayStation games.
On the emulation. Yeah.
I think, everyone's emulating, and there's so many good games on there. Like your kids. So one of the things I'll do when I eventually have kids, when I fool some woman to marry me, is get my kids to play an old back catalog of games. Well, I'm going to have no screen time in the formative years. But then like 5, 6, I'll say, hey, here's a Sega Mega Drive. We're gonna enjoy these games.
Yeah, the emulation.
Like, no, this is stupid, and we have ocular implants, and we're in the future.
Emulation's great. You got to put the time in and the research to get it all set up. But MacBound, who's been a channel member for 6 months, and he's also in the XNC podcast club and hanging out with me, he says a Steam Deck or nothing. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see let me move this forward. Red Wolf, thank you so much for the $2 super. Says props to Gaz for defending Starfield this week. Gaz, what did you do?
You
defended Starfield?
I don't remember doing that. Starfield. Oh yeah, on my show and Go Live, they were making fun of it. BitCloud and Blazers on our show and saying, "Oh, it's just No Man's Sky."
Oh my gosh!
Oh, silly boys.
You know what? They don't get. No Man's Sky does very little for what it does, but it's. Can I use the word dank? Because it is very. It is so like even though I'm not doing anything amazing, sometimes it's just like got that feel like you're out there. You're out there in space. We got Meatpup at 007 who became a channel member, who's been a channel member for 6 months with the Raz from Psychonauts, and he put truck high hand wave, truck eye wave, truck eye semi wave, maybe it is. I don't know. Let's get into our very first topic. Well, welcome everybody for being here. Thank you for hanging out with Gaz and I on a Monday night. Let's take a look here. The hottest news that broke was that there is a rumor that PlayStation is remastering yet another young game. Is that the right word, Gaz? Horizon Zero Dawn, which has already been pushed onto PC 2 years ago, has already been fully enhanced for the PS5 at 4K 60. The game already is one of the best looking games on console right now, even though it's a PS4 game. And they want to remaster it, which before I give the mic to Gaz, I just got to say, one of the things I think they're going to do visually is they're going to put that lighting halo around Aloy that looks so great in Forbidden West. But they're also supposed to include the Frozen Wilds DLC, and they're going to charge you a $10 upgrade and add in online co-op. So is this justified, Gaz, the big Horizon Zero Dawn remaster?
I think on the whole, and I'm looking at it right now, and this looks beautiful. I mean, you're going to hate me for saying this, chat, but how many Xbox games look that good?
Yeah, and this is captured from my PS4 Slim, not even the PS4 Pro. This isn't the PS5 Enhanced. It's 30 frames, 1080p. But go ahead.
Yeah, shout out to Guerrilla Games, man. Their impeccable quality. But why? Solid Rev tweeted. It goes, why do we need this game? Looks better than most current gen games. What they're gonna upgrade the sound, voice acting? What does this mean? That Sony wants, you did it with The Last of Us, charged you $70, took away the multiplayer, and I guess that was a ground up remake, and then that wasn't exactly met positively. But this one, everyone from hardcore, most hardcore Sony fanboys even were like, this is an L. This is an L. And when they say it's an L, then you know it's an L. I mean, ultimately, it's just like, what's going on? Is Sony... Look, this may be controversial, and I think me and you are going back and forth on this point, and this was originally your sentiment, and I do agree with you. But this kind of stuff kind of indicates to me that perhaps PlayStation, in the immediate year, 12 months or something beyond God of War, may be straining for content that they're going to push out things like this, and or they're just squeezing as much out as possible out of users in the meantime, which they do it. We've seen that. We'll talk about the bloody loyalty thing, but it just, who wants this? Who needed this? And then people are like, oh, well, supply and demand. I'm like, well, you should demand better. You should demand less lazy, regurgitated remasters of a game that looks so stellar that you can just pick this up now. I don't get it. I think just, and like someone in chat says, Sony knows people are going to eat it up. And we saw it on Twitter. One guy was like, you know what, we PlayStation guys, if it was $80, I'd buy it. And after that, I say, well, there you go, PlayStation Nation. It's just, okay. I just think it's stupid. I think it's stupid. If Xbox did this, I would gun them. Gears trilogy, I said it on the show, said it before. It's stupid. I said, well, who needs that? And this is just further example of that. To me, I just can't vibe with it.
We have to talk about this from the angle of Xbox, because you ended that statement perfectly, Gaz, when you said, who needs the Gears remake? And the reason why Gaz and I say this is because, like I said before, Horizon Zero Dawn is already enhanced to 4K 60. It's already utilizing the full power of the engine within the game on the PS5. Gears right now, Gears 1 through 5 already run at either native 4K or dynamic 4K. So they're already at 60 frames. They're already set up with FPS boost and all that stuff. So those games already feel as modern as they can. Of course, I'm sure there's things you could do if you did a remake, but as it stands, unless you're looking at like the PC suite, Gears Trilogy Remaster Edition or whatever it'd be called doesn't really need to exist. Go ahead and do it if you want, but we're trying to say you really got this situation where these games we're no longer locked off by a console. You know, like Jim Ryan says, we believe in generations, Gaz, but we're no longer in that situation where if a game was built in 2010 or 2012, it's already ready to come forward on the current consoles through the back compat system. Actually,
the back compat system is quite ironic that you mentioned that, because ultimately when back compat and Xbox is leagues ahead of PlayStation in that regard and game preservation. When that was announced, PlayStation guys were like, well, we buy our next-gen consoles to play next-gen games, not old games. And there comes Sony just remastering and remaking old games again and again. And it's just like, what do you want to do? I mean, you can't defend this. And a lot of people just, a lot of PlayStation fanboys kind of, lost any ammo they had because they devoted themselves to this narrative.
Yeah,
but
True 77 says
resources. Sorry.
Yes, thank you, guys. Resources. True 77 says, right, like when you said that, he says, what if other secondary studios do this? Like, you can give a studio like Splash Damage, who did Gears Tactics, they can work on a remaster for Gears, right? But
yeah,
as fans, we should be asking those studios, whoever that they partner with, to be working on new content. Get Splash Damage working on the multiplayer portion of the next Coalition game instead of having these secondary studios work on remasters. The thing that we were trying to point out, and I put up a tweet today and upset a lot of people. I said, let me grab it real quick because my tweets aren't perfect, but
that's an understatement.
Here's what I said because of the Horizon Zero Dawn. I said, not a remaster in sight, and I have a picture that I made of Phil with the heliocentric logos of all the Xbox game studios. And I said, not a remaster in sight. Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Pentiment, Grounded, Everwild, Starfield, Redfall, Indiana Jones, Elder Scrolls 6, Forza, Senua's Saga, Project Mara, Cobalt, Midnight, Contraband, State of Decay 3, Dragon, Minecraft Legends, Fable, Gears 6. I couldn't fit everything in. I had character limit. I had to go in and cut some stuff down. Coalition has a new IP is coming out with Forza Gears 6, Perfect Dark, Fallout 5, and this is the roadmap for Xbox with no remasters in sight. And then today they announced that they're doing a definitive edition, like a bundled edition of Outer Worlds across all the consoles. And so I quote tweeted to myself and I go, oops, I spoke too soon.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
God. I can't support it. If Xbox do it, I think it's silly as well. But someone in chat said, what if there's Jet Set Radio Future remake? 100%. There are a lot of games I would buy. Bloodborne remake 60. Give it the 60 FPS patch.
It's not about how many or which games get picked per se, right? Because if you want Bloodborne, PlayStation's not going to remaster Bloodborne. They sold 2 million copies of that game. They sold less than Xbox sold Sunset Overdrive. Bloodborne's not a moneymaker, so they're not going to put the time and energy. Here's what they say in the music business. If you cover a hit, you're already halfway there. So remastering a game that already sold well, like Horizon Zero Dawn, which sold about 10 million, I think, give or take. Maybe even more. I can't remember. I think the second one was less than 10 million. You're already guaranteed to make a certain amount of sales. So if you can tell your studio, hey, do those flourishes that you did in the sequel, put those into the engine of Horizon Zero Dawn, bundle everything together, we'll set up a whole packaging thing of the marketing, and we can sell probably easily 4 million off of $1 million worth of work, right? So they'll get their return on investment for sure. And I'm kind of forgetting where I was going with that, but
I mean, yeah, your tweet, it didn't age well, but ultimately actually did show. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that's a pretty beastly list of games. The variety, everything is really good. You know, even if I don't like Pentiment, you know, it might score well. And people like that kind of game. Generally, it looks good. But the point is, what does PlayStation have next year? And I think this may be a reason why they're doing this.
Let's talk about that, because for all of you who are checking out the show, thank you so much. And I know a good chunk of you are mostly Xbox fans. Gaz and I want to get a little controversial. Shall we? Get a little controversial? Perk up your ears, if you will. Gaz and I were talking pre-show about the prospect. Because I set up this platter and handed it to Gaz, and I said, Gaz, doesn't this kind of look like PlayStation doesn't have a great roadmap yet? They're trying to bide some time because right now they have 2 Square Enix games. They have 2 games from Insomniac with Wolverine and Spider-Man 2. They have God of War, which is going to come in and make everything look like this small across the whole entire year, right? That's going to be awesome. But PlayStation doesn't have this roadmap of 20 or 30 games that they've talked about. They've said they have numbers of games, but Xbox has all these names, logos, trailers, some gameplay of things. And I was like, Gaz, what's the possibility? I'm turning this conversation straight to Gaz. Gaz, what's the possibility that PlayStation is trying to pad out their first-party output until they can get more studios and get more games going?
I mean, for 2023, risk it for the biscuit says that's exactly what I said. So basically, it's what I said was wrong. So I take it back. No, risk it. I'm sure you're right as well. No, the point is, one thing, don't underestimate Sony's capacity or ability to surprise you. They hold their cards close to their chest. I like the way Sony deal with things, and they can surprise you. Sony Studio Santa Monica, what are they doing? You know, what's going on? I think in terms of the roadmap, though, they've done it. Sony uncharacteristically has delivered excellent first-party titles, diverse, or whether or not you like Gran Turismo or Horizon, I'm not big fans of them, but those are great. God of War will destroy anything Xbox has had from launch till this year. Let's be real. It will on Xbox up until this year. And only next year will that change.
It's going to be the biggest game to come out.
And it's going to be epic.
Of the whole generation.
I'd say 92 meta. Right? 92 meta.
Yeah.
But it's thing. But 2023 is a different ball game, and I think Sony are perhaps using this when they do things like this. And I can only think that are you padding this out? Because what do they have? Wolverine and Spider-Man. Are they actually going to release next year? Spider-Man 2 probably.
Spider-Man 2 is probably going to make it 2023, but Wolverine would be a year, maybe 2 years after that. Games are taking longer. Let me read some supers that still land within what we're talking about. What? Sorry.
No, I was listing the games, but it doesn't matter. Read the
No, listing what?
All the PlayStation games
that are out or that they have next
2023. What can they have?
Oh,
apart from Spider-Man 2,
Forspoken, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, like you said. Help us out, chat. Ragnarok's this year's Kid Smooth, right? Kid Smooth helps out in the chat. What other than Final Fantasy Forspoken and Spider-Man 2? PlayStation must have something else for 2023. But even 3 big games is much better than Xbox did in 2022, right? So everyone tries to get me on that, right? They tried to twist my nipple like, you didn't have any games this year. It's like, yeah, I'm well aware. I've been here, doing a podcast with Gaz every week. I've been making videos. I know when Xbox is missing games. Last year was pretty good, though. But anyway, I'm looking. Special Nick says, good day, blokes. Special Nick can't think of any other PlayStation games as well. I think it's those 3, which is still great. Let me get some supers here. Meat Puppet said that his little emojis were he was lurking in the truck watching the show. So shout out to Meat Puppet. Danny Passion Official, thank you so much. He says, Go got me hooked with Moonscars. Great so far, which is the Castlevania style game that they got from your guys' recommendation. I have not even installed it yet. Have you played it?
No, not yet, but I will do.
I hear it's
wanna
really
try
cool.
Yeah,
Poochie
same.
says, "Sup fam, Gaz, you know what I want? Sign it." Laugh out loud. What's this?
What's this? Poochie? Oh, sorry. Poochie's been asking me to sign his Xbox for ages. I'm not famous. Do not ask me to do that. It's weird.
Poochie, bring your Xbox to E3 in LA this next coming June, and I'll bring the golden marker, and Gaz will sign it.
I'll sign it.
What Gaz is going to do is he's going to sign his name backwards on his pack, and then he's going to print it right on the. It's going to be amazing. Red Wolf, thank you so much for the other super. He says, Colt, please explain to Assassin why he should play the Mass Effect trilogy. I don't have enough money or time to explain its greatness. I'll just say, when the Mass Effect's always been, the trilogy's always been my very favorite. When I replayed the trilogy remaster last year, there was like 4 different times where I teared up. It was probably the best game I'd played in many years because the whole package is phenomenal. Assassin, please play it. Excellent third-person shooting, the best RPG, and just it's the best storytelling ever. Best characters. Everything is perfect. Hargy Johnny, I wanted you to read this one, but it went by, and you probably can't see anymore, Gaz. Hargy Johnny says, Preparation H. Preparation H Horizon feels good on the whole. And I think he means on the whole of gaming, I think is what he means. Sir X-Men, thank you so much for the super. Says it's not that hard to just update the game for PS5. Well, I mean, it takes time to update it, but they already did. So are we still looking at...
Gamer Guy in chat actually makes a good point. I think they're doing it to sync up all the games with the television show releases. We had Rand in party chat, and I was shocked. I didn't know all of this. There's a Horizon TV show.
I didn't know
There's
either.
Gran Turismo movie. Gran Turismo movie. It could actually be good because I like cars. Initial D.
Yeah.
But what Gran Turismo movie? There, God of War, Horizon. You've got Spider-Man already on their wall.
Spider-Man's already there. There's a Days Gone TV series that doesn't have Sam.
TV. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Xbox got absolutely grilled for. Are you serious, bro? The Last of Us 2 show looks kind of like it's okay, but The Last of Us TV series might be one of the first TV series voice acting by this video game counterpart. What are you doing?
I did not know. Yeah, shout out to Randall Thor for telling us about the Horizon and the Gran Turismo show. I had no idea they existed. And shout out to Xbox for making one about Halo with butt cheeks. So yeah, awesome. Sleepy Vistas, thank you so much for the Australian 5. He says Xbox allows developers to make passion projects, while PlayStation developers have to make remakes. Oh, that's a burn in both ways, because Pentiment as a passion project is not something that appeals to Gaz or I, right? We can speak as a body with two heads on that one, I think. But I should have said this in my last week. I interviewed one of the heads of Obsidian Entertainment about the Grounded team. I did a review for Grounded, and I didn't expect a lot of people to check it out because the game doesn't have a lot of buzz. But when Grounded was shown in 2019, I was like, seriously? Like, Xbox needs mature, big story-based game, like heavy hitters. What is this? And now it's one of my favorite games. It's so good. You just have to play it. But Risk It for the Biscuit with the $8 Australian says, PC players need the Gears collection. I want Gears and UE5. Don't forget Coalition doesn't have to be the studio porting. I disagree. Grr. I think you read that one off. You're off. You know, you kind of paraphrase him, right?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, fine footage. If you want it in. You know, the Fortnite is such a good game. We need to play community and just have fun. But you won that game. It just came up Victory Royale.
Yeah, let me say real quick. Hold that thought. Don't forget it. I'm just going to talk for 2 seconds. Sorry if you don't like Fortnite, but Gaz and I have some clips in here. The game's just really fun to play with friends and just have fun with friends. So that's why you're seeing just a few minutes of it. Go ahead, Gaz.
I don't have to apologize. It's just running footage. If you guys are such stickler for details, Rand has Peppa Pig on this show. This game is a great game. Don't write it off like I did.
Same.
But yeah, it's just a beautiful game. Sorry, what were we talking about?
I don't know. I don't even remember. We were talking about I always
You
say
guys are
this. Like,
ADHD.
we have two ADHD guys on one show, and you're bound to get nothing accomplished.
I'm just looking at a gameplay and shiny thing. It's like
Risket was talking about why he thinks Gears trilogy should exist, and I don't know.
I mean, I get it. If you like it, you want it. The same thing was like I was talking to Portrock about it. He got really defensive on that point, but he said if people want it, they want it. That's fine. I understand that, but really, the question is resources. It is that those resources can be with finite, developers. Are they better used? Maybe they're not. Maybe they have plenty staff geared up and organized to do and deliver the mainline content or whatever new IPs, and then do this as well. But so it's fine. I know if Xbox did it, it would annoy me. And at PlayStation, I just feel like I have more confidence in PlayStation surprising because their capacity surprise has been, history shows itself. But I still have a sneaking suspicion in 2023 they might come up short with Xbox that should have an onslaught of games. Where Xbox looks like it's too much as a result of these delays. It's insane pacing. You have Starfield, Redfall, Diablo as well. I mean, Diablo's going to suck.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not first party yet. But
forgot about that.
Yeah, Forza as well. There's so much quality there. But in order for PlayStation to do well and, The Last of Us factions, thank you for whoever mentioned that in chat. That could, if it's good, I'm there. And, that could be good. So that could mark the start of PlayStation getting its games live as a service right, multiplayer right, and that's where the money is. So now that PlayStation has seen the Xbox Lite, let's see. But I do think they may have a comparatively weak 2023. I don't know. I'm confident, but unless they surprise me and say, hey, it's coming out in 6 months, I don't know. Ooh, another victory royale with Hadouken. I mean, not Hadouken.
Yeah, with the
Yeah, I remember being in that game with you.
The game's so fun.
Yeah.
And Special Nick's in the chat says that we need to party up with him. He's been playing it for years. He called us losers, so we need to get on with Special Nick and play the
Aussie
game.
Connection.
And I think... I don't know what that'll do, but I think the time that you and I play together would probably work with those guys as well. But I don't know. The Gears thing, I felt like Coalition kind of already said out loud that doesn't exist. So I'm inclined to believe that the Gears collection doesn't exist. But if it did, like, what are you going to do? Cancel it because you don't want another remaster? And what's done is done, I think, at that point. We got to talk real quick about this PlayStation Stars. I don't want to stick on this for very long, but apparently it was outed that there's like tiers and you have to buy 4 full price games, which isn't a big ask, but you have to have a certain amount of rare achievements, and you can boost yourself to the front of the line for customer service, which is not unorthodox in tiered. I don't know how you explain that, but it's not.
I mean, it's just stupid. You don't market that especially when a company has comparatively poorer customer service. PlayStation's customer service is rubbish compared to Xbox. It is, and people complain about that quite often. And then you put that under paywall, and the meme for the payers. We made that skit on our source video, and the next day this happened, and you're putting improved customer service essentially on a paywall. What does that mean? Like you get to skip the queue, or what is that? Are you actually improving your customer services and your policies for returns? I don't, it's just a really bad look.
Well, someone said, like, imagine you get a PS5 for Christmas and something goes wrong and you have to make a call. I mean, it's such conjecture, right? They're like, and then somebody jumps up the front of the line because they have more achievements or more trophies than you. Like, you would never know. You would never know that, right? You'd just be on hold. But imagine you find out like the next day that you were waiting on hold because there were people that had paid extra or had worked their way into the customer service priority line, which is not unheard of. Like, to play the devil's advocate, like. One of my buddies goes, I have a Costco membership and they don't give me extra perks. I'm like, yes, they do. And Costco's a big wholesale store. Like, you can have an executive membership or a contractor's membership and you get in an hour early. You get into the store an hour early so you can get your stuff and get out and get on the work site. So, yeah. Hey, I got to say real quick, because Special Nick wrote in the chat, that as far as he knows, and I feel like I was just I'd heard this, but he says, as far as he knows, Coalition never outright said anything about the Gears collection existing. They haven't even mentioned it, right? Right, Nick?
Shut up.
I love watching you guys tell each other to go to heck. It's so fun. Yeah.
Find your source in real life and beat the out of him. Just do it. Do it for me.
Oh, Koki says, who has priority on the show, Gaz or Colteastwood? You know, it depends on if I'm drinking something and I can't talk. No, it's I don't know. Shoot. What were we talking? No, I'm just kidding.
Not again.
Not again.
Yeah, we were just talking about this. PlayStation's PR is taking a hit as far as the core gamers are concerned, but whether that will actually have any material impact, Sony will just ride the wave and it'll be forgotten in a week until I remind everyone in my source video, and then everyone will forget again. So
I mean, it is true that PlayStation has had a very rough go with their messaging. Hold on, because I've been threatening you that I make this video, and you're like, make whatever videos you want. I'm like, well, I mean, you like to keep me in check. I like to keep you in check, but let me read you this list of things PlayStation has not done right so far. I didn't play. I just thought of this just now. We believe in generations. Digital PS5 at $399 when they hardly sell any of them. The DualSense 5 you can't use your PS4 controllers with the new PlayStation 5. Why? Because we said so. Paid upgrades for games. $70 price point. No legacy back-compat unless you're on a paywall through streaming.
Do you hear me, this Blaze? He's coming at you.
The price hike for their console while they've revised it 3 times, reducing the cost of materials and telling the public that they were making a profit last year on the PS5. PSVR 2, no back compat with over 200 games. The parity clause, which is still out for jury that we talked about yesterday, but this possibility that they've kind of tricked, or maybe they require technical parity, and some developers think, oh, we have to make sure the game runs the same across Xbox and PlayStation. So there's a couple more. Paying to keep games off of Game Pass via contract. The Activision and Blizzard and Call of Duty begging for Call of Duty, which we're going to talk about later. PS Premium is $18 a month, and they say it's not made for new AAA games. The highest price tiered, they're saying we're never going to give you our newest or biggest games. We're only going to give you the cheapest games. Buying and shuttering studios to keep competition in their favor. Roadmap with fewer studios after 2023, which we talked about earlier. And their PlayStation Stars Tier 4 customer service. And that's just all some stuff that I've just heard. These are things that we've seen over the past couple of years. And Xbox has kind of done the opposite all the way around. But
more or less.
You need to when you're behind.
Well, you need to when you're behind. And, that's the beauty of competition. Xbox is keeping PlayStation in check. The only way Xbox still needs to fundamentally do that is the AAA exclusives. But in the grand, that's me and you in the game, and all my aliens.
If you're enjoying the show, I know Gaz and I are kind of all over the place today because the news is kind of strange, like it is sometimes. But hit the like button if you're having a good time on the show. All you have to do is minimize the chat if you're on your phone. Hit the like button, come right back. All these awesome people that we're talking to will still be right there. It shows a ton of support when you hit. I don't know what the magic numbers do behind the hood, but it shows Gaz and I that you guys are enjoying, that you're having a good time while you cut up, slice little carrots for the little casserole you're making, whatever you're doing. Thank you for being here on the show on a Monday night. We really, truly appreciate it. There's over almost 850 people watching live. We really, Gaz, we say it. We love it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Sofa King is crying. He says, L takes Gaz. Like,
wait, which take was your L?
I didn't even say anything. You were the one who gave me the speech for about 5 minutes there. And Blaze is like, great
yes,
speech.
John Smith, I hear all the time I look like Patrick Wilson. I'm pretty happy because, look at somebody getting Victory L. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I do kind of look like the dude. It's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's true. Yeah, look, PlayStation.
I was just saying all this stuff. They've fumbled this generation.
And that's the thing. It happens all the time. And you know what? Next gen Xbox will do it. It's just it always alternates. But the biggest thing I think is Jim Ryan running off, scurrying to the regulators. It's such a poor look. What is that, PlayStation?
Let's talk about that.
What are you doing?
Let's
what is
talk
that?
about what happened.
I think it's disgraceful. I think it's like the one time in the history you have not seen PlayStation look this weak, where they are begging. They're essentially begging the regulators for some reprieve and say, hey, don't take this multi-plat game away from us, even though the company's proposing to spend $70 billion on it, because we could never, feasibly even afford half of that. So, but we have a history in this arena of constantly money hatting to the point where Xbox doesn't even have any kind of semblance of Japanese attraction because we money hat that from, day dot. So like, it's just... Jim Ryan is making PlayStation look bad. Obviously, Sony are desperate there, and that's the thing. Sony's desperation. Sony has always because
I don't get it as a major Xbox fan, right? I know that PlayStation has got all their ducks in a row. They do what they do so well, and I feel like Jim Ryan and some of these decisions they're making, like how do they allow this? Like, they should be doing so much better. And some of the things they do to make a little extra money, it's not even worth it. You're already at the top, like Satya said, right? He already considers PlayStation or Sony at number 2 or number 1 in the game business, right? And they act like they're trying to scrape money off the bottom of the barrel on the lowest common denominator. I don't get it.
I mean, it goes to show that they got so lazy in coasting and relying on third-party deals that they neglected multiplayer and first-person games of their own. Sony and their fan base, sorry, Blaze, that's true. For ages, you touted your first-party studio's ability to deliver greatness, yet you can't. You're so intimidated by Call of Duty, which, granted, is a force. Why doesn't PlayStation do it? Does Nintendo need Call of Duty? You do. I mean, I'm very confident the deal will go through because the arguments there for any legal team and the legacy of PlayStation and Nintendo in the space and so the market position of Microsoft and there's a multitude of different things and Activision and how that would benefit the studio itself because they need that content. Their staff want a change anyway. There are so many different things here, but it just makes PlayStation look stupid. But not only does it make it look stupid, Colt, for ages people here sing Kumbaya, Kumbaya, everything is okay. When Jim Ryan it was a personal attack on Phil Spencer. Like,
sure, yeah.
Think about the way he said it. He goes, I wasn't going to say anything, but Phil Spencer, I thought on what I thought was a private matter, but Phil Spencer, when he makes this statement, so I might as well touch upon it. What is that? What do you think that relationship is like now when they meet each other? They're like, well, why did you say that? Like, this is
like Sean Layden and Phil are like buddies, but if Jim Ryan and Phil had to stand together, Jim would be like,
I mean, it goes to show that these companies the stakes are high and they will get brutal, both of them. But to me, it is such a bad look. You may say I'm biased because I like Xbox and I want to whatever source to kill at least PlayStation for one gen, and then we can whatever. But it really is. If the table was flipped and Phil Spencer was doing this, I would just say I ain't touching Xbox anymore. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that you do that. That you can't stand on your own 2 legs. And there you go and beg the regulators. You fly out there to leave your comments and literally God knows what kind of picture they're painting. And so I want Xbox to be robust. Today, Xbox, and I think this is kind of stupid. I don't know what the rationale behind this is.
You're on a rant, bro.
Oh, sorry about this rant. But I just want to talk about this thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Microsoft has created a new website dedicated to the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The news Microsoft.com. And it says the benefits of Xbox and Activision Blizzard. And it says benefits for players. And it says more games on more devices, choice in how people buy it. Benefit for game creators, more ways to get games in front of more people, better revenue and fair marketplace rules, greater flexibility. Benefit for the gaming industry, more competition in mobile, where only a couple of big players dominate. greater competition in traditional gaming, where Sony and Nintendo remain the biggest. Emphasis on positive workplace culture, increased local investment from Microsoft in studios, and blah blah blah. This is all obviously devised to be presented to regulators, not us. It's not to game creators. Everyone, the game devs know what the reality is. Gamers know what the reality is. The ones in the core gaming circles that would even look at it. This is down for the regulators. But surely your submissions to the regulators will be a lot more substantial than this. Why would they need to know this? Like, what's the tact here? Like, direct them to a news thing? Surely you have your own submissions there. So I don't understand. Just be raw, be more fierce, Microsoft. And I'm sure you will be, because there's a lot of money on the table. When money is involved, especially 70 billion, then you will be. But I'm just saying, in change of attitude in terms of competition, because your predecessor, Phil Spencer, or predecessor, James Allard, he was ruthless but lovely guy. He wanted Ken Kutaragi's resignation on his desk. He said that. So Google it. Want that fire. I don't want Mr. Nice Guy. I'm not saying Phil Spencer's nice and he's great and he saved Xbox, all of that. Just need some fire in the exec's eyes, and I hope chat can agree that we just need some of that pushback.
From what I know about Phil, there is that fire, but he does put up that I'm going to smile and we're all in this together persona up front first and foremost. But Jim Ryan really puts out that we want to serve the PlayStation fans the way that they expect, and he also has that we'll go for the throat if we need to do it. But him going to Brussels to uninvited. Like, have you guys seen Tommy Boy when he goes up into that building in Chicago to stop the deal that Rob Lowe's doing to buy out Callahan Auto? I haven't watched that movie in so long, but I love it. But Tommy Boy literally goes in, he takes road flares, and he's like, I'm going to stop the deal from happening. He gets on the plane with what's his name? with Richard. David Spade, right? For those of you who love Tommy Boy, right? I wish I could put the clip on here; it'd be hilarious. But he literally, they flew across the country to stop the deal. And I got to think of Jim Ryan as I'm going to make that a meme of Jim Ryan as Tommy Boy going, under the power lines as a kid. But
I mean, all of us.
Did you watch the Wolong footage that I had up on the screen while you were ranting?
I didn't. I was literally ranting crazy and looking at chat and trying to focus, but I couldn't. But shout out to 911 people watching.
Yeah, hit the like button, guys. You're having a good time. I had some Wolong footage down. I have a couple clips from Metal Hellsinger. I tried to gather some stuff I've been recording lately. I didn't like this game. Yeah, this game's okay. I mean, I need to play. It's okay. I just couldn't vibe with it. Yeah, I just couldn't vibe with it.
Capono
says Tommy Boy's an old movie. The movie came out 30 years ago almost. 95? Yeah, like 26, 27 years ago. Super old. But anyway, I guess my point still stands for you Gen Xers. You're still hanging out here on the show.
I just want to say that it seems like even as Xbox guys believe in PlayStation's capacity to compete with Call of Duty more than the execs do. Because PlayStation, I respect their studios immensely. Multiplayer aside, and I'm sure they could do it well. The proof is in the pudding. Mm-hmm. But I'm convinced. I know Naughty Dog and Factions could be incredible. I'm really looking forward to that. Guerrilla Games, do it. Go and deliver a sick multiplayer game. Bungie, make them exclusive, but you've got Bungie now. You can do it. These are the guys who created Halo. It's kind of sad, all hilarious, albeit at the same time I'm relishing in Sony's, masquerading and faltering, because it kills the narrative I was aware of was a facade last gen anyway. But, and
that no new generation is the same as the last, and it's moved forward. Yeah.
Yes.
I think I've got that Wolong footage coming back up here in just a second. Let me read a couple supers before they get out of hand. Let's see. Clipso3, welcome to the channel membership. Let me know when that Wolong footage comes up. I want you to see, guys, I actually took a few minutes to make the character look like me. He's got the tall forehead. He's got the faux hawk. He's got the little lame beard. You'll like the game, bro. Boner Jams with the $5 super says, I heard this is where all the cool kids hang out. Have room for one more. Happy Monday, everyone. Have a great week. The chat's awesome. Boner Jams, welcome and to the Cool Kids Hangout here on the XC
Toby
podcast.
Gamer says, sorry.
No, read it. I got it. Go ahead.
He says Gaz doesn't listen to metal music. That's why he can't play the game.
Oh.
If they had Backstreet Boys, he would rule. First of all, don't diss Backstreet Boys. Okay? I want it that way. Tell me why. Sorry, that's a bit late.
That was good. That was really good.
Secondly, what are you talking about, you piece of... corn. I used to spray. I almost got expelled from school for spraying corn everywhere. So it's Sepultura, System of a Down. I was in the gym making games, and I was listening to System of a Down, BYOB. And I was like, Sepultura is raw. Just shut up. Just shut up. I listen to everything. I listen to dancehall. I listen to Afro house. I listen to everything. No one has a more diverse.
The first level or two needs a little bit stronger metal music. I feel like the music just isn't hitting hard enough in the beginning to get you started, but I'm sure it picks up. Fire
Sorry, I'll keep talking. Shut up. I'm gonna be quiet. You just do your thing.
Shout out to Sean the Brews in the chat. He says, Gaz, you got my kids laughing at that ballad. Gaz goes on tour, so look out for tickets. We'll be selling them. Fires71, who's been a member for 4 months, says, off topic, but I can't get Modern Warfare 2019 campaign to work no matter what I do. Does anyone else have this problem? Any insight from the community? Yes,
campaign?
I had the same problem. I just remember. Wait, no. Modern Warfare.
Download every pack, even the multiplayer pack, everything. Just download it if you want to play the single player.
The remaster campaign wouldn't work for me. I think that might be what he's talking about. You get into you finish the first level and it goes to load the second one. And the game just like locks up. But the 2019 one, I don't remember having that problem.
Just download everything, including multiplayer. It'll fix it.
Okay,
trust me. All the packs,
the glory of Xbox with a £2 super. Thank you, Glory. It says Jim Ryan is my father. Please be nice to him.
I mean, I don't hate. Look, this thing gets weaponized, and I make fun of Jim Ryan and say "F you, Nadella" in my skits. But it's all comedy. But these guys are doing what they are because that's what they need to do for self-preservation. I just think, generally it's not a good look. But please, and I wanted to say that in my videos where I come at developers or. Unless it's personalities in the YouTube, the execs, I'm not that I'm scared. I don't give a damn anyway, but I just want to make it my intention clear. Jim Ryan is doing what he needs to do, or he thinks is best for PlayStation.
I think half of what Jim Ryan does is what has been long overdue, but then the other half are things like, what are you doing? Like PlayStation you don't even need to do that. Like whatever money you think you're going to make is not worth it. Just don't do things like that. But the other half, as far as going to PC, becoming more multi-platform, buying more studios so they can have more first party, all that stuff I'm totally for. It's just the weird anti-consumer or sideways consumer things. Carlos Fontes at the $5 super says, I have a history of playing Spider-Man on my Xbox. I hope Call of Duty goes exclusive to Xbox, and I hope weird console warriors cry about it forever and ever, he says. So I agree. Let's talk about this Halo rumor, which is quite sizzling. It hit Reddit a few days ago, on like a Friday or Thursday, and it came to some of the gaming journalists like Jez Corden. And Jez Corden had the same reaction. He's a writer for Windows Central. He's pretty prominent in the community. He had the same reaction as me. Like, it says it came from Reddit. I'm like, I'm not covering that. This is what Jez said, kind of the same way. I'm not covering that. That sounds fake. That sounds like pipe dreams and speculation.
He said it's aggressively fake.
Yes, he said it's aggressively fake. But my reaction was, I'm not covering that. That comes from anybody who's anybody from Reddit. But apparently it comes from Sean W., a Halo leaker who must obviously very much be talking to people that are working or have worked at 343 recently. Gaz, I'm hoping you're knowledgeable of what's going on with this, but there's some things he said about the Halo changes, and one of them is that Slip Space Engine is a problem. They are building new content in Unreal Engine 5. What can you tell the audience about what's going on? You and I have a lot of Halo talk on this show.
Well, it's speculative. Initially, I retweeted that because it looked like there was a lot of credibility there, and then Jess Gordon poured doubt on it and said this is aggressively fake. Then he did a U-turn. He essentially said, well, actually, hold on, there may be something here. So now it seems.
Sorry, guys. And that is why I made the video on it. I sat on the information all morning. I talked to one of the people that I talk to that I get information from. Like, I always bounce, hey, lick this and tell me if it sticks, right? I kind of do that. And my friend said, I said, Jess said this is aggressively fake. I'll give it back to you guys. And he said, but the Unreal Engine thing, I've heard that there's some truth to that. And this other stuff, I think is coming from where there's smoke, there's fire. And so I'm like, you know what? I can make a great video where I can propose all these things. And I have enough information or enough logic where I can say, hey, here's what I think. Here's what I think's possible. Here's what I think they should do or shouldn't do. And blah, blah, blah. So sorry, guys, go ahead. That's why I made the video after Jez said, hold on and deleted tweets, right?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, that's a very interesting development because all this makes me more and more convinced that 343 have scrapped the 10-year plan, which to me is great news. It's great news because I question the utility of this engine because of the disparity in what was shown in 2018 and what's shown now, and the difficulties in development and all sorts, and the multiplayer issues and all of that, technical issues, blah, blah, blah. Moving to Unreal Engine 5 could be a great move. How wholesale is that? Is that just for the BR mode that Certain Affinity are working on? Is that going to be the next game? Is that good? Halo, what's it called? The Endless the IP was.
I think there's two things, right, Gaz? And maybe you and I kind of puzzle it together. I think Certain Affinity's been working for a year or two on this Halo Battle Royale that's like going to be a full thing. And I don't know if they're saying that's in Unreal Engine 5, but then there's the possibility, guys, that they are going to close up. And we've been saying this for a while, right? Close up what Halo Infinite has promised. Close up Season 2 or whatever it is. Or Season 3, whatever the winter update is, close that up, do your support for it, and start working on the next Halo Infinite game, or next Halo game, which would be Halo The Endless, and it'll basically be Halo 7 or something, right?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It will be, mark my word, well, let's be honest, it'll be a massive admission of failure. I mean, there have been multiple failures with Halo Infinite, but that'll be a massive admission of failure and a complete change of tack for a 10-year, decade-long plan to something else. I'm grateful. Because do you know why I'm grateful? Because nothing tells me that any appreciable roadmap for their single-player content is coming. Nothing aggressive at all.
Yes.
We don't even know who the Endless are. The story was an absolute farce for me in Halo Infinite. This is possibly good. So I'm praying. Joseph Staten has come in and said, look, cut this. This is not going to do any favors to the IP at the pace that we're in. It's a bold move as well because it's an expensive move. They'll factor in costs and budgets for a decade-long plan, and scrapping all the work from Split Space, it cannot be cheap, which is why it sounds so unbelievable. I'm not saying it's true or not. The more I hear about it, the more I think they're scrapping the 10-year plan, and I'll be really grateful. I'm really grateful. So I'm really keeping an eagle eye on it. And I hope 343 get it right, whatever they're doing. I also find it laughable that people used to mock Dr. Disrespect and other people like me and Special Nick.
I did too. I did. About
Battle Royale. Yeah.
Yeah. He's so right. He's so right. And at the time, you were playing Apex all the time. I wasn't playing Fortnite. I had only dabbled in those games, and I didn't care. But we got to say, chat, let us know. I want to see a thumbs up in the chat if you think these rumors are good for Halo. The possibility of them saying, okay, we're done with Halo Infinite. We're going to finish that stuff. I don't know what this... Oh, why is this Avengers game playing here? That's weird. That looks amazing. But anyway, that's funny. That's me just dragging in the wrong file. Give me a thumbs up, chat, if you think the possibility of them making a whole new campaign in Unreal Engine 5 and kind of scrapping Halo Infinite's engine, and Certain Affinity making this awesome Battle Royale thing. I think it's all good news if it's true.
I think it's great news because everyone is desperate for a break, apart from those shills who said everything was fine. And yeah, we know those guys. I think it's great news. And you know how, my stance on Halo is quite strict, but cut the fat, just kill the 10-year plan, focus on delivering. We deserve a Halo game that looks exemplary, doesn't look possible. Yeah. It looks. Halo was Halo 1, 2, and 3.
Halo 5 looks better than Halo Infinite, I think.
That's
Hargit
shocking.
was saying something about Halo 5 being added in, into Master Chief or being remastered. I'm like, I'm pretty sure from when I was showing Halo 5 footage on my channel to get people excited about Halo Infinite when we hadn't seen it yet. It was fairly obvious that once the beta came out, I'm like, oh gosh, Halo 5 looks so much better, but it wasn't open world. But in these days, these studios should be able to crank out an amazing looking, they already are cranking out amazing looking open world games. That's funny that.
But imagine a Halo next gen only game, not hampered by the old aging VCR Xbox One. It's what I want. It's what you all should want, in my opinion. The definitive Halo experience, not shackled by aging tech and Unreal Engine. I get it. Like, it's kind of sad because Unreal Engine is not a bespoke engine. You don't get your flair in it. How can they get the movements? Because Halo has particular, style of movement. And slip space. The feel in this game was incredible. Is incredible.
I don't know enough about development though, Gaz. That's what I want to ask from you and anybody in I wish we had some developer people that are in the chat. Maybe we have people who know a little bit about that, but maybe there isn't a consequence with the engine. Maybe you can bring in the physics and the animations into Unreal Engine 5. You can build those in, bring those in, and make them work, and you still get the same Halo feel. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, Doom in 2016 was built on id Tech, but the multiplayer version was made by a different studio. Was the multiplayer version of Doom on a different engine, or just a different studio created it? I think it was the same engine but a different studio. But those things might be possible. And if this rumor's true, Gaz, if they're thinking about bringing an Unreal Engine workflow in to bring in the next Halo, they must totally believe that DNA of Halo will be intact in Unreal Engine 5. They'll just have better tools, they'll have better support, and they won't have these roadblocks that they must be running into that don't allow them to reach the potential of Halo Infinite on Slip Space, with all of the problems that they're dealing with, which apparently Slip Space is the old Halo engine that's been kind of like revamped, and it hasn't been a good decision. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. It's moving crazy. Let me read one more super here, two more. Risky for the Biscuit, thank you so much for the Australian $7.99. He says $7.99. He says, if they stop supporting Halo Infinite to make a new Halo game, it's another huge failure for 343. I want Halo to get finished and bring content, not a new game. Grr. Risk it, I hear you. I think, like I tried to explain, obviously the team at 343 would be doing all of the post-launch support for Halo Infinite for the next couple of years. But once they get the new Halo game, that multiplayer suite will be there on that new engine. They must be thinking right now, if this is true, Gaz, that it is worth it. You sit down and you're like, do I want to redo this whole thing before I move on? Like, should we do this? Crazy. They must be thinking that it's a good idea.
It sounds crazy to me. To undo all that work, but it'd be amazing if it does happen. And I think it should happen, because I don't think, unless 343 get their act together, Joseph sits down and says, we need an aggressive roadmap. Here it is. The engine is there. We built all the works. But there's so many problems, Colt. There's so many problems with the netcode. Basic things like melee not working, desync, worse than any multiplayer competitive shooter. Like you see, it's hard call. But then if you cut it, call it quits, and then move it. Well, how feasible that is, I don't know. To me, it still sounds insane that they would even do that. Certain Affinity doing it, and as a side piece, I can get that. But even then, that's weird. So I don't know, man. I think we should get some answers, hopefully, on this. But it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, man.
There's two major questions, and Mav in the chat said it could feel generic as F, right? I think there's two questions that the team asks when they sit down and propose the idea to move to Unreal Engine 5. The very first question you probably ask the team is, if we move to Unreal Engine 5, does Halo still feel like Halo? And the answer is probably, oh, of course it will. Of course it will. You just have, things may look different, or you'll have better access to bigger and better tools to build the game and to make the game engine run better. So
I think so.
Because animations are all about calculations for the character. You have gravity and physics coefficients that they do in games, and that's all built into animation that can be done in your 3D modeling program. And I know very little about how games are made, but when you create 3D models, you rig them, you set up the animation and the gravity and physics models, where you set things, what the multipliers do, so that when you hit this thing will go there because weight is set to that, right? That's all stuff that doesn't have to be done completely in the Slipspace engine. It could be translated over. So if the answer is, will Halo still feel like Halo, the Halo we have now, and the answer is yes, then the other question is it worth our time, effort, and money to move to Unreal Engine 5? And I want to say, as Riskit said, because Riskit had one more super here where he said, you guys really want to wait 6 years for Halo now. I think you're waiting 6 years for any game when you start a new one. But you have a Halo right now, right, guys? Like, that's the point. We have a Halo
right now, and we're waiting for how long for appreciable content? 6 years of stuck with an engine that they're struggling with, a roadmap that's not there, and fixed. What constitutes fixed? I don't think that can be with this team anyway. Just work on a new one. If you have the vision and you know what you want to do, and you're not shackled by old hardware, if you think that's feasible, do it. I will wait 10 years. If I'm alive by then, who knows? But I will wait for the best Halo. That's the price of creating something stellar. You know, you have the vision for it. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Halo, of all things, deserves to wait until it's the best it can be. And it was the problem with Infinite. They said, we don't care. We wanted it at the 20-year anniversary or what it was, right? And I'm like, that wasn't the right choice. You wanted it for the console. No, you didn't get it. You wanted it for the anniversary. You should have waited. But I do agree with Riskit as far as, do you really want to wait 5 or 6 years to see where the next part of the story goes? And that Riskit and chat, that's what I am like, yeah, that kind of sucks. Because as it stands right now, if you stay in Slipspace, the team in 2 years' time from now could have an 8-hour campaign with new biomes on a different part of the ring that continue the story. But the developers must be looking at this right now and saying, is it worth it to wait longer and get a much better workable engine that is not going to set us down in our chair and tie our hands? I really feel like that's what they're up against, guys. Do you agree?
And I don't think it will take 6 years as well. And Abe is right. Well, he says the similarities in code or whatever. But ultimately,
what does he say about that? There's similarities.
Well, Abe is saying, I don't know what this is based on. He goes, I don't think it's 6 years. I've heard there's similarities in base code. I don't know what that is. But in terms of look, Unreal Engine 5 is massively malleable. Look at Fortnite, and then look at everything else like Hellblade 2, Senua's Sacrifice. There, you can do a bunch. I'm not a game dev.
And like 75% of Xbox game studios are working in Unreal Engine 4 and 5. So,
and I don't think Halo's making them money. I think Halo's costing them money. No one's buying those stupid ears and stuff. Fine, but
Sophie
I don't
King
think
says it won't take that long. So Sophie King is on the side thinking you're not going to wait 5 or 6 years. I
don't think so either.
Like if we all agree, it doesn't matter if we all agree, right? But if we all are thinking some of that stuff can be brought in, imported in, and worked into Unreal Engine 5, a lot of the early work is already done, and a lot of the writing is probably done for the Endless campaign. Some of the cinematics may be done in Slipspace, and they pre-render them or whatever they're going to do. But I think that stuff's going to be in real time. Yeah, obviously it's in real time. I forgot. But let me read a couple supers. This is a really good discussion, and normally Gaz and I are beating 343 over the top of the head with a rubber mallet. But I am fully supporting them in
made of
this.
metal.
I am excited about this. I think this is what they need. Maybe Joseph Staten. Staten's how you say his name. I've been saying Staten for years. Joseph Staten's so awesome. I think the Josephs has been sitting like, look, guys, look. Like, he has to shut up the whole room. Shut up. Listen. Trust me. Let's just do it right. We didn't do it right the first time. We're going to have a setback. We've already been dealing with a setback. This is the right thing to do. He's been talking to people that know more than he does. And if this is true, I think as Halo fans, because I love the way Halo Infinite feels, right? Gaz, you're with me. Mm-hmm. It feels great.
Yeah,
except for like some of the online issues, right? The game, oh gosh, I love that campaign. It felt so good. We are in for great things, and Halo won't be a laughingstock. Let me read a couple supers here. JD Gamer, thank you so much for the $20 super. He's got the big orange blazing super chat in there. He says, my question is 343 is moving to Unreal Engine versus Slipspace. Will Forge look as good as the betas we've already seen? Because I want some of those looks and the deals, and I don't care about the 10-year plan. I just want Halo to be awesome. What do you guys think? Gaz, you want to answer that one?
JD, that's a great super chat and great question to undo all that work. And I mean, this is why it sounds a bit crazy to me that they would move engines. It seems crazy. The Forge engine, and I was watching a bit of their vidoc, and it talks about static elements versus dynamic elements and how much they save the overhead. A stark contrast from Halo 5's Forge. And what they've forged here, or built with Forge, is something really special. That's a great question. I don't want them to lose that. Can they transpose that kind of system, if all of this is true, to Unreal Engine 5? It's a great question, because Forge looks remarkable. And there was a guy who, you may have not seen it, complete like Toy Story-esque, like almost hypercharged level. It was
cyberpunk
amazing.
Level that looked amazing.
And the cyberpunk level. And then people started building their own AI routines and mini bosses that they created. I don't see any reason, again, non-initiated, non-game dev knowledge, but just I don't see any particular reason why they couldn't do an Unreal Engine 5. But yeah, I mean, there's a great question.
Real quick, I'm going to turn on my AC. You tell me if it's too loud, because I'm like, you got me all heated up on this topic. Hold on.
All right. While we do that, I'll sing some. Oh, that was quick.
Is that ridiculously loud? Can you hear it?
I can't hear anything.
Okay, cool. I'm like sweating. Like the chat's like got me all fired up. And Risk It for the Biscuit said that he thinks that the coding and some of the engine stuff would take longer. He says he'll die on the hill, that the new game would take 5 or 6 years. I'm going to be on his show this Friday on the West Coast time, Friday night. So we're going to look into this, Risk It. You and I will see what we figure out, and then we'll sit down and talk about this when we've had more time to figure it out, because he says I get heated about Halo.
1v1. Risk It, you're terrible at shooters. You are terrible. Do you want me to read your KD out to the public? Just don't do that. Actually, I'm going to check
No, for Risk It's credit, which I'm with him, he said Halo's one of his favorite franchises, so he gets really passionate about it. But Risk It, I think for what's for the best, good things come to those who wait. And Xbox fans, we know how to wait.
Yeah, we do. We've been waiting for 3 generations. I know.
Let me read a couple supers. Carlos Fontes says, Halo Infinite was a blast, but it's time for a redirect across the board for Halo. Halo needs to be a genre platform-defining game, not just competent. Perfectly said, because I always say the same thing, Carlos. I say, Halo deserves the best it can be, not good enough. Good enough is not the metric for Halo Infinite. I feel like that's kind of how they launched it. Like, look, it's ready. It's good enough. That's the wrong take. Red Wolf with the $5 says, I'm very interested to see the potential new spin they could put on a Battle Royale Halo game. Maybe we could play as ODST. That would be cool. Let's talk about that for a second, guys. You know more about Battle Royale than most people. What do you want from Certain Affinity's killer Battle Royale game? What's it need? What's it not need?
I will say, based on what the information that's come out, it doesn't sound... I mean, we sound like such a Debbie Downer, but it sounds like it's pretty conservative and almost stretching the definition of what a battle royale is. It seems like you do these mini game modes in a large map, and then you do it. and I don't like that element of it. I think, well, it depends. The reason why I always supported Halo doing Battle Royale in the first place is because it was built for large-scale warfare. From the first game, Blood Gulch, you had 2 maps that was pretty diverse at the time with multiple players. You can have ODST drops or weapon drops. You can have Banshees. You can have, vehicles going over.
Even that base thing sounds fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, Warzone in Halo 5, they attempted to go for, not Battle Royale at the time, but they went for what the spirit of Halo actually represents to a lot of people. Big team battle, but on crack. It was literally like that. And Halo Battle Royale signifies an extension of that. I don't know what it means, but I really love Battle Royale, and I really hope there's so many ways to make it. Halo was always destined to be large-scale battles. It's what you imagined as a kid or when you were younger playing it. So I don't know, but based on what they're saying is like you have some like map on the same map, you have multiple objectives. It's less RNG based because you'll pick up a weapon after successfully completing I don't know, maybe a kill the hill mode in this area of the map. Very early details, a lot of it's speculation based on what's released. So this seems reliable, but let's see. But I hope they go for the blue sky with this, because when you play something like Fortnite and how well thought out that is, even though it copied PUBG, then Halo has so much more potential. Like you were talking about the potential of a Halo Battle Royale. Well, you were talking about an Xbox All-Stars Battle Royale and how that could be great.
Oh my gosh, I want it so bad. Can I make a little mini rant?
Of course.
I say things like, I would love for Halo's Battle Royale mode to allow you to buy skins from Gears, from Skyrim, from Perfect Dark, from anything, right? To have these, and then let third parties bring in their own. If you want Marvel characters, right now we have the Avengers, and you got Iron Man. Like, if you could bring in a Captain America or Iron Man, I also have to shoehorn in here. Look at how amazing this game looks. This is Crystal Dynamics in charge of the Avengers license, all right? Look how good this freaking crap looks, especially when he was jumping through those explosions. I know people give this game crap, but it was a looker. I don't know how that footage got in there, but
the game I hear, and I haven't played it yet because I'm playing all the other single player.
When you play if you don't know about Avengers, you go in and you do only the main missions. You ignore all the other crap. You just look for the main Avengers missions, and they're all big set pieces. They all look and feel incredible. And everyone just didn't like all the fluff stuff on the outside. And when I learned, you can figure out just to stay away from it. It's amazing. But my take is, I want Battle Royale to be whatever it can be, like a big Xbox extravaganza of dropping in and killing 100 people with. I don't care if you have all these characters, because people are like, the lore, right? Guys, they're like, the lore, you can't do that. You can't have like Captain America in there, and you can't have Marcus Phoenix in the lore. I'm like, you're literally playing every night on Halo Infinite. Spartans killing other Spartans. Don't tell me about the lore. It should be Spartans versus elites, Spartans versus brutes, ODST versus the Endless, or whatever it is. I'm tired of this red versus blue, black Spartan versus green Spartan versus pink Spartan.
Imagine a massive, like, multiplayer arena. You have a massive Scarab in there that's been controlled by a player, like the winning team that has managed to, or the team that has successfully completed it. Can you imagine? This is the scale that developers should think. This is how Halo's status should be. You might think, guess that's over the top. No, this is how you should think. Massive
think about
Scarab,
the love.
ODST drops coming in there. You'll level up from ODS Marine to ODST to Spartan, then you level up there. That's an example. And then there's a flood, is the circle, and then you're coming in there, and then you've got a myriad of machines. Full-on warfare, beautiful.
The flood is the circle? Holy crap, that sounds amazing, bro.
The flood is the circle. There's so much potential. There's
bro. And I know people don't want that weirdness, but
no, that's not weird. That's
the love, Halo. The love and attention that Fortnite gets from that developer, how they look at what people love, they give them everything. They do these seasons where it's a big major event. Halo.
It's amazing. Like Fortnite, you had Dragon Ball Z that pulled me in, and I never played Fortnite. Genius work, because a lot of people just like, I don't even play Fortnite. I'm gonna buy Goku, Vegeta, and the other guy. I haven't actually watched Dragon Ball Super yet. I jumped in, I realized, holy, this game with the no build mode is incredible. And then
It is.
now we bought, how much have we spent, man? Me and you, I've bought so many skins. I bought the alien skin, I bought the samurai skin, bought so many skins. And then this new season, you've got Chrome. Like, what the hell is Chrome? You think it's just like a weird made, they run out of ideas? No, you turn into a blob, you throw Chrome in, you phase into buildings, the gameplay ramifications are amazing. It's like how, and that actually speaks to how dynamic Unreal Engine is, because have you seen their events? You had Travis Scott doing like some massive giant Travis Scott. You had like Star Wars things there. You had huge tornadoes, loads of physics in there, like huge robot. The black hole sucked it in. The spectacle is amazing.
I know people. It's easy
for.
to make fun of Fortnite because it looks like a kid's game, but the care and attention, like they just make everything very cool, and there's no reason why you can't emulate that in some fashion. But if it's true, if you're right, guys, that this Halo Infinite Battle Royale from Certain Affinity is just a paint by numbers bare minimum, I don't know how much legs it's going to have for me. But let me grab a couple supers here. Let's see. Donataku says, Donataku's on the other side. Thank you so much for the super chat, Don. He says, switching to Unreal Engine 5 would be the dumbest decision they've ever made. The graphics will be better, but the gameplay and physics will not be the same. I'm going to look into that, Don. I'm going to look into it because we don't know. We don't know. Biff Rinaldi, who stays in the... sorry, guys. Yeah, we don't know that, but we will look into it. I'm going to ask... I have a friend that I can talk to that actually works at Epic. I'll ask him about those and see if he can get an answer for us. That would be... I would get a really good, legit answer from him. Biff Rinaldi, who sends a super, who stays in the Back to the Future theme here. He says, "Infinite equals endless." Am I right? Hello, McFly. Hello. Infinite equals endless. When you said, I don't know why I didn't think about the flood being the circle, bro. Hello, McFly. Philippe Guerin with the Canadian $5 says, Forge is the future of Halo for the time being. Yeah, I should have had it launched, bro. He also says, not Unreal Engine 5. I might be wrong, he says, but I would not have high hopes for a full engine swap, lads.
I mean, it sounds far-fetched to me, I'm not going to lie. But there are credible people out there saying that's what's happening. But who knows? Who knows?
It really does sound like they've reached
crazy.
It really does sound like they've reached a breaking point, right, Gaz, where they have to say, look, either we're all in on Unreal Engine 5, an engine swap. This next super actually goes to the other side of that. Mike, thank you so much for the Canadian 5. He says, instead of Unreal Engine 5, why not improve slip space with the team that works on Forge? And I think that's kind of what they've been doing the past 2 years. If not 3 years, is trying to get slip space to work for them.
Has left 343 as well. Remember that?
That broke today. Say that again, because you had to talk over me.
Slipspace's lead engine dev is gone. He's left 343.
That's not a good look. And that actually, I took off my glasses and I have like the smallest eyes.
You have to, guys.
I have beautiful eyes. That actually, nice. When the lead of the slipspace engine leaves 343, doesn't that kind of tell you that maybe this engine swap thing's legit? Like, what do you need me for? I'm out of here. Right?
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. Well, maybe he just left, but I don't know.
Zimic89 with a $5 super thank you says, I don't mind waiting for another Halo game if they get it right, especially when Xbox starts releasing their first party games.
Fired?
What? Oh. Were you seeing that in the chat?
Everyone
Silver King said he was fired.
No, Silver King is always wrong. So Don Sicario said he's got fired, and someone else said he's got fired. Oh,
let me write it in the old Google, Michael Google. Slipspace engine lead left. Let's see. David Berger is leaving 343. Halo reportedly dropping Slipspace engine in favor of Unreal Engine. Gaz from Game On Daily plays so much Fortnite he breaks the servers. That's an article.
How far you made?
Halo Infinite, that's September 14th. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't want to sit here and look on Google. You guys can do that on your own time when we're not watching the show. But
hire me. Halo will be fixed. It'll be the best. They'll be like, who's this guy? Keeps throwing out crazy ideas. So shut up. Just make it. Make the star roads. Make Mendicant Bias do this. Just it'll be best.
Who was it? Zimic89 when he said that by the time Halo is getting ready to drop their next big content, which is in 2 years from now, Xbox already have their big games finally out. But I mean, how much were you going to think about Halo? I was planning on playing it for the first few months or maybe the first year, and then finding something else I was going to be super busy with. But I don't know. We'll see. Halo deserves to be a longevity type game. Let me see. We got to talk about this real quick. We'll get off Halo because Halo just got off of us. Stadia closed down. Stadia closed down, and the world was ready to blame Xbox. We knew Stadia was having a rough time. xCloud's been better. Stadia did some things better. Xbox always says Fortnite servers are still down. We broke them today. Stadia is done. Gaz, you probably covered this pretty well on your show, but what is there to say about this? Phil Harrison has killed yet another business venture.
Phil Harrison seems tainted. And when my friend Michael said these kind of execs fail upwards, they seem to get another good cushy job with no doubt a great pay package. Stadia dying, maybe beyond just Phil Harrison itself. It seems like as soon as Microsoft acquired ZeniMax, Google threw in the towel. But Google never really tried. Google, the company that owns the biggest search engine, that owns YouTube, that we're all watching this now, couldn't leverage their marketing because they this is the thing, this industry, it will weed out the people who are brittle spirited. In this industry, you
what weren't they doing though, Gaz? I mean, they were pushing a lot of money into it, and they gave out refunds. They're pushing out a great controller. They pushed out the little hardware. What weren't they doing?
Cloud tech was the best. Nothing came close. When I was playing Cyberpunk, out of Project xCloud, whatever else I tried, the GeForce thing, all of it paled in comparison to Stadia's tech. It was amazing. I was like, wow, this is incredible. But Google didn't try anything. They shut down their first-party studio. They didn't have any roadmap of what Stadia meant. People believed in the tech. I believed in the tech. The controller was a touch of genius because it's a Wi-Fi controller. Killed latency. Killed cheating as well because it's cloud-based. Yeah, and then think about it. You could just plug into any YouTube video because that's streaming tech, and boom, there you're there playing it.
Oh yeah, the whole thing where you could be watching Assassin's Creed Odyssey footage on a YouTube video, and then there was a direct link to launch the game. Like a games on demand is a big thing, but they were trying to buy studios, but they weren't aggressively trying to get their own first party, or they weren't aggressively trying to get unique content on the service. Was that what killed it?
Well, the ZeniMax thing seems to have catalyzed their demise, but because ZeniMax actually, they own the tech, the streaming tech that Google was based on, or Orion, which is the principal reason why they did give up. But I'm sure they had access to their own tech. So what was it like? I just feel like that kind of filtered out. You have to have a very strong mindset in this game to be a new entrant. It's very intimidating to even Google, but Google didn't try. Amazon Luna, I'm hearing great things about its subscription, the quality of its subscription. But I
don't hear about Google it much either.
I know, but
Railzer00 in the chat says Stadia's biggest flaw was nobody knew what Stadia was, and then you brought up as soon as she wrote that, you said Amazon Luna, and I'm like, I don't hear anybody talking about Amazon Luna. I don't know what they have other than they had that MMO that was pretty popular.
Yeah, that was rubbish. Which one?
Gosh, it was super hot about a year ago. Or maybe
I know which one you're talking about.
I can't even remember.
Please remind us.
I'm sorry. Geez, look at the adult dating sites finally showed up on the show. They gave us a month of respite. Every time those show up on the show, Gaz's train of thought goes to a second window on his monitor, and then
Ching. I'm like,
the best is when you and I did the show with sunglasses on. You had your mirrored aviators on, and someone made the joke that you were like surfing hot girls and it was showing up on your glasses, and you were like,
and actually it was just a pony head because I know what you can see. But yeah, look, I mean, Google Stadia died. Microsoft
Lost Ark. Thank you, Lost Ark. Yeah, that was the game. Sorry, go ahead, Gaz. Two ADD guys trying to make it happen.
But I was going to say the Stadia thing may be weaponized. This is the thing that, what are you laughing at?
Jason Mack says Stadia sounds like a sweetener. Go ahead. That was good.
Basically, Stadia dying may add some ammo against Microsoft and its ABK acquisition, is what Asa was saying, that Microsoft and Google are openly hostile. They've been openly hostile to each other. And Asa was mentioning the fact that Microsoft chimed in the Apple versus Epic lawsuit and brought in Google into it, and their store policies inside that as unfair. So, and we're now hearing VGC report that Google, when initially with the Brazilian regulators, didn't say anything, and said, look, well, it was a bit of a non-statement. The translation was just weird. It was like, Google Stadia is not in Brazil. But then here, it seems like they've maybe turned around. So they may be joining hands with Sony, holding hands, who have a monetary share relationship with Epic. They've got shares in Epic.
Do you think Jim Ryan got to Brussels with a picture of Stadia on a tombstone and goes, look what they're doing?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. If he's gone out to do that, that's one of the principal arguments he can make.
Is he getting like a list together, kind of like the PlayStation guys do on Twitter? You did this. You do that.
Yeah, selective list.
This you? You think Jim Ryan's opening statement was this you? And he had some gotchas.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he would have. Yeah, now I guarantee you, he would have gone back and mentioned Stadia. There's no way he wouldn't mention Stadia. If he's gonna go there to grovel and beg and make this horrible picture of what this could kill PlayStation, a game, Call of Duty, that's its own separate gaming category. Yes, what lies.
I gotta say, one of the flaws that Stadia was missing that was never going to be part of the plan, and it probably couldn't have fixed it, it really needed its own place to play. And cloud right now for the next 10 years, I think, needs to be supplementary or complementary to where you game. And the problem was, if you're on Stadia, you had to have other places to play, and Stadia had to become your secondary option. I want to move forward without like any smooth transition to talk about this Activision thing, as we were mentioning a second ago, because today Xbox put out a little webpage benefits thing on their site that Hoag's Law, who is a acquisition and mergers attorney, said made Xbox look worried about the Activision deal with regulators, because I'm going to read this on screen. They wrote these benefits for Activision being acquired by Xbox. Did you look at this, guys?
I read it out to you at the start of the show. What do you think I was reading out?
You read? you did? You read this out?
Bro, you literally read it. We had a whole conversation about this.
Oh, and you said we are going to get into it. I don't even remember that. I was probably
the benefits for players, benefits for game creators, benefits for the game industry.
Did you read? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry.
Well,
yeah, it's just
reach it. Go for it. I want to know what Hogue said.
The benefits for the players. It says more game. So there's some interesting things that they chose to say here, because it kind of goes against what we think they're going to do. It paints Xbox as this, we're going to help everyone, which is not true. They're going to help this major ecosystem that they cover that's everywhere at PlayStation. Here's what they say. More games on more devices, including Xbox, PlayStation, phones, and online. Choice how and where you play games or buy them with subscriptions and one-off purchase options. For 95% of gamers who play on phones, alternatives to gaming's offerings from dominant mobile platforms. Better revenue. Where's the one about... greater competition in traditional gaming, where Sony and Nintendo will remain the biggest, which is like, oh my gosh, like we're not going to be really big. Nintendo and PlayStation will still be the biggest. An emphasis on workplace culture, so they're really trying to convince the regulators, which I thought was funny. Is like, are the regulators really going to go to this website and read this like little flowery statement you put up to make yourselves look like heroes? I don't think I have all this on here, but the part about more games on more devices, including Xbox, PlayStation, phones, and online. Somebody in the chat said Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation, and then they put in brackets Warzone. Guys, do you still subscribe to this idea that Phil is just secretly meaning just Warzone, and then Call of Duty's.
Special Nick is wrong. It doesn't.
It wasn't Special Nick, was it?
Or has he said that? Back and forth on it. He was always said it's just Warzone. It's not.
Detective Seeds gives a super and says, Detective Seeds says, folks, you just saw the side effects of getting old. For me forgetting what you said an hour and a half ago. Huh?
I've just had a whole full conversation. This is crazy.
And I remember none of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know how that feels like. And you don't even smoke weed. So what I was going to say was, look, I don't believe in that. I think the 3 years beyond the contractual period will be all CODs. And then we'll see what happens. But I agree with Hogue, this statement. Like I was saying at the start, who is it for? Regulators are not going to check your news website. I'm sure you'll have something more substantive to submit to regulators. It does make them look weak.
It looks like a little religious pamphlet, like that they're going to send out. Like, have you brought Xbox in your life? It's like a little trifold. It's got like the picture of the old couple like looking at a flower, and then the guy who's like throwing a joint away in the garbage can.
It's true. It's like that. It seems like I don't understand the rationale behind this. What's the tactic behind that, people? Who is going to read that? I mean, you just made a little table and say, this is why it's good. I'm sure, I hope they have something more substantive, because Jim Ryan is out there with a whole book of lies to tell the regulators, you better be prepared. This is weird. This is actually really weird to me. It seems like desperation. It seems like something else is there.
So we're seeing we're seeing two, right, guys? We're seeing desperation from Jim, and we're seeing desperation from Phil. Like, Phil makes a religious pamphlet. I don't know which is worse. You know, Jim Ryan got on a coach flight. You know, they had to fly economy class to Brussels to go knock on the door with, you know, road flares tied to his chest and say, "Stop the deal!" And and Phil's got the trifle where he's like, "Have you ever thought of bringing Xbox into your life?"
Bro, if this deal doesn't go through somehow, I'll be very shocked, because it's just crazy. It will send shockwaves throughout the industry. Imagine Microsoft just pay what, 7 to 10 billion, penalty, for the deal for failing. Basically, they get to remunerate Activision for that. What happens? What happens to Microsoft and Xbox?
And we're still a long road. Like? I don't expect this deal to be closed until we're well into the summer.
What if the deal doesn't go through? Imagine the deal fails, chat. Imagine the deal fails. Jim Ryan begs. All of this comes in and says, look, FTC now emboldened with a new political agenda about big entrants, doesn't ignore one of the biggest, deals in gaming, the biggest deal in gaming, and makes a stand. Microsoft fails, pays $10 billion to Activision.
Is it 10? I think it was 3 to 5. 3 to 5 billion.
3 to 5? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, as Darnell says 3. I think 3 was the number I was thinking when you said 10. I'm like, is it more than that? Let me talk about that possibility. Right now, Microsoft, imagine you're making a big purchase, right? For those of you who've gone to buy a car, you meet somebody to buy a car, or you go to the car lot or the dealership to buy a car, and it's a big deal, and you put out your offer, and they won't come down to where you feel comfortable buying the car. You're sitting there in a situation where you're like, I don't want to pay more than I wanted to. If this deal doesn't work, I'm not going to be out a bunch of money, and I could go buy something else, right? Now, this is just small time example of what's going on. What Microsoft is sitting at right now, guys, they're sitting at the possibility of spending $70 billion of their cash reserve on Activision Blizzard. Satya Nadella is well aware that there is a possibility this deal won't go through. So he has to be thinking, look, Phil, if this deal doesn't go through, and I trust you, we're prepared to eat $3 billion. It's the price of doing business. But Phil's like, if this deal doesn't go through, we have other things we want to buy. And Satya's like, we need content on the ecosystem, and we need it on Game Pass. So Phil, if this deal won't go through, we're going to eat the $3 billion. We're going to pay that fee, but I need you ready to make your next deal, because we had to wait 1.5 years or a year for this one to go through. Do you think, guys, that Satya is sitting in that situation going, if we save $70. Let's spend that money because it has to be spent in the fiscal year or whatever. Like they have their budget.
They'd be stupid not to forward plan. The lawyers would have done that. Get ready to factor in what happens, the severance of all this deal. But really, the onward plan, the future business plan, absolutely. I pray that these Phil Spencer's a millionaire, Satya Nadella, no doubt, these guys get paid to think about what this happens. And someone in chat said, you know what they should do? Well, in my opinion, Microsoft, if this deal falls through after all of this and Jim Ryan posturing, crying, and a deal that would help Activision, and someone in chat was right. Hogue is right. It's common sense. Mass layoffs.
A deal that would help Activision?
Absolutely. If this deal doesn't go through, Activision's shares will tank. There'll be layoffs.
Right.
100%. And the studio, generally the publisher outfit and its future health is actually dependent on Microsoft, in my opinion.
Saving them.
Definitely. Yeah. Saving them. Diablo, Overwatch, they've been in turmoil. Everyone talks about Blizzard being a mess and not being like what its older sense. So sick and that's it. The deal falls through now. What did Microsoft do? In my opinion, you're out for blood.
Do you think regulators are looking at this, guys, and saying, look, if we don't approve this deal or if we block it, what's going to happen to Activision and Blizzard?
They have to consider that. Microsoft has to put that forward to them. If the regulators, for some reason, don't seem to contend that,
let me read that then. Emphasis on a positive workspace culture and increased local investment from Microsoft in studios and creative ecosystems around the world. That's one of the bullet points that they're saying. Yeah. Benefits for gaming industry for more competition in mobile where a couple of big players dominate. I thought there was one more thing that said something about benefit for game creators, more ways to get games in front of players through support, investment, and better access.
It's just
yeah, but it is giving that, trying to give that argument like, look, if you block this deal, there's going to be repercussions for studios that we have no control over. They came to us. Remember, chat, Activision came to Microsoft and said, do you want to buy us? Like we're on sale. We're for sale right now. And they need it. And Phil Spencer and the team have been looking at what can we do to help this troubled conglomerate of studios that do not have fair treatment through
and I question how much they actually care that much about it. It's business, and that's what their driving force is for them and their motivation.
Well, as far as Microsoft, yeah, you're right. As far as Microsoft bringing them on, the last thing they want to do is have their dirty laundry. They want to have them come to Microsoft and be repaired, and not bring their problems with them. They want that stuff ready to be repaired and fixed as they come in. Yeah. I don't know.
But if the deal doesn't fall through, you have to think about what this means. This is where things get really messy. Really messy for Activision Blizzard, but really messy in the console warring space because Microsoft shouldn't take it lightly. So what do they do? What will Microsoft do? These are human characters behind this, and they want to make Game Pass a force. So money hat. That's it. It's on the cards now. Sony's bullshit. Sony's policy of this rampant money hatting, go for it, Microsoft. We back you now, the gamers, because Sony's stopped it. They stopped that competition. Go for it. Now, see blood, do not give Sony a taste of their own medicine. Money hat. Acquisitions, smaller scale, go ahead and just take over. Let's see how their lawyers can maneuver smaller acquisitions. They spent $3 billion like it was nothing for Bungie. They've been tactically, basically isolating Microsoft out of the Japanese market. Microsoft can do the same. Go ahead. If this deal goes through, whoever's in charge needs to show them, instill in Sony the fear of God and just go at it. Money hat, aggressive expansion, Japan, everywhere. And I'm not even joking. That's what they need to do.
I think they are.
To be raw.
Aren't they? Aren't they already? Like, Gaz, do you think that Microsoft and Xbox
fall through? If the deal falls through, then all of that changes. The attitude changes. The good guy changes. You've just been gazumped in this deal.
especially since Sony kind of was really active, very active, trying to stop this. I wanted to ask you, do you think Phil and the team already have prospects in mind? Like, we're not buying right now. We need to wait till this thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for ABK, they would have bought Crystal Dynamics. There's no way they would have bought it. They would have done it. They would have done it. 100%. It makes sense. The synergy with them, that they need that person.
Zane Bashir says, who goes to a strip club to buy companies? I don't know what that means, but I think that's funny. Thank you so much for the supers here. We got Udani Kizadu had to throw shade. He said, Colt, he said, here's a super to buy Colt a life alert for that senior moment. You know what? Gosh dang it. I seriously don't remember you even reading those. And where's my dentures?
Guys, come on, man. It isn't as if Microsoft hadn't bought games before. Only reason I think massive end up on PlayStation was money and EA. Bro, do you see, even in this gen, Microsoft acquired ZeniMax, Deathloop, and bloody, what's it called? Ghostwire Tokyo was subject to these deals. How many things? Forspoken locked out for how many years? Now, what do? What's that game that's the Bayonetta project? They've changed the name now. The Bayonetta clone, but very nice one. It was marketed on PlayStation Xbox's event. What's it called? Chat, please let me know.
I don't remember what it was called, like Soul Booty or something like that.
Big Booty. Yeah, it was done. Now it's not even coming.
Shut up, you Donnie.
Advertised on an Xbox show to be coming on Xbox. Boom, next thing, Sony bought it. Sony money all the time, Street Fighter, all of that. They take the mic. They have to, right? So why? Microsoft needs to have Project Eve, thank you, but it just changed its name. Yes.
It looks so cool, and then
Stellar Blade,
now it's exclusive.
Yeah. So yeah, look.
Stellar Blade. Yeah, Project Eve was the name of it until it got its name, Stellar Blade. Yeah. Which looks freaking cool, and now it's not going to be on Xbox for who knows when. Udani Kizada said, "Get the polydent." I'm going to smack you, bro. Donataku with the $5 says, if the ABK deal doesn't go through because of Sony, they're going to buy Square Enix for double the price just to spite them. I'm with Gaz. I think they've got buys they want to make, and they just need to wait until their hands are freed. Detective Siege, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. That's like a big, magenta colored super. Thank you so much, Detective Siege. We were supposed to hang out last night on Xbox Live, and I didn't see him on. And he should just send me a message, bro. I don't always check. I was playing Grounded with my kids till my face fell off. He says, Detective Siege says, if this deal doesn't go through, Phil will be like a dude. Oh, this is where that comment came from. He goes, Phil will be like a dude at the strip club going through a divorce, just making it rain, buying up a ton of companies, in my opinion. Can you imagine Phil?
That's the most fun time. Because only one man can handle X number of strippers. That guy, well, goodness.
That reminds me of the meme you did of Jim Ryan with the Coke on his nose, and he's like...
Yeah.
Phil is like so wholesome. I can imagine it more like Phil going to a Trader Joe's and buying up as much granola as he can. But
Fire Phil Spencer, make me the head of Xbox, please. I guarantee all kinds of parties, all kinds of substances.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just can't imagine that. That makes me think of all kinds of funny stories that we'll have to save for another time. But it'll be really interesting. I think it's going to be a long road. And actually, I think at this point, people are kind of sick of hearing about what's going to happen with Activision Blizzard. And I'm putting my time on the closure around June or July of next year. So it's going to be a long wait. Yeah, and I also think that Activision Blizzard doesn't put out a lot of games.
Look, sorry.
Phil making it rain, Spencer.
Go ahead. At 1,300, thank you for the $10 super chat. Because if it doesn't go through, A, they can spin that. Sony doesn't care about saving jobs. B, they should put themselves in a position to hire ABK talent. And C, they should attempt to buy ABK's IP. Go for blood, like in granular level, perhaps, but Call of Duty is the main chunky one of it. If it fails, it'll because of COD.
And as much as it is annoying to hear, there's another big franchise that matters more to them than anything. that is so, and it's Candy Crush. It's the mobile situation, right? So
absolutely.
They need this to go through so they can have a nice money cash flow to come in so that they can buy a bunch more stuff and keep making games. I think that's where we're sitting. I do think it's funny that we started the show talking about how PlayStation possibly doesn't have a aggressive roadmap yet. Maybe we think they're probably going to surprise and shock everybody whenever they decide to do a showcase event. But Xbox has also been slow to release major big games this generation. 2021 was great. 2022 was just completely riddled with just a bad situation. But Gaz, you've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. You've been doing that. You did such an amazing sauce video last week, was it? It just feels like it was the other day. You had a barrage. Please, chat, go to Gaz's channel it's in the description. Go to the Game On Daily channel. Look at the last sauce video. It was called what was it? Compete?
PlayStation Humiliation.
PlayStation Humiliation. And there's a barrage of, holy crap, did you guys just say that about, PlayStation and Xbox, and you just have to see his talented team. Gaz has these friends that will just get in front of a camera, lights and mics, and ridiculously embarrass themselves for our entertainment. It's so fun. The Fire Brigade, like we said last week, showed up because the sauce was overflowing out the windows, breaking all kinds of penal codes and breaking their penal codes themselves. So it was great. Shout out to Boss Mod Lethal Papa for helping keeping down the chat. We've got Yodana Kizada and Happy Bomb, who are these are amazing people that hang out here, talk to the chat. We're all friends. It's been fantastic. Gaz, what do you have in the pipeline for your show next week, and what are you working on next?
Well, actually, I might as well tell you. I've got Mike Rose and Fonska on our show. Mike Rose is the publisher for Little Robots. No More Robots.
No More Robots. Descenders and Let's Build a Zoo. Yeah, awesome.
And also, he's a great guy, and he's been quite vocal about Sony charging for $70 for and the Horizon Zero Dawn thing. So he's he knows his stuff, and he doesn't pull his punches. So there's going to be a lot of swear words,
and he's funny. He's funny.
He's hilarious. He's a really nice guy. Got a source video in the works as well. I've got a green suit coming. I've got some other stuff ordered. So if we're gonna
green one like mine, like lime green or mid green? What is it?
No, it's a full green suit.
DM me. I want to see it.
I'll DM you. The video idea we have is ridiculous. It's also very obscure, but people will get the references. It's quite raw. But yeah, I can't wait to do that. And we're also doing more content like Let's Plays and stuff. So we're working on that, editing that as we speak. Awesome. But yeah, lots of content.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been really strange on YouTube. Let me talk about that in just a second. JD Gamer gives a $20 super chat. He got the orange super chat just like blinding our faces here. He says, if the AB key, I always do that, ABK with Samurai KBG. If the ABK deal doesn't go through, I couldn't be Jim Ryan. Microsoft could make a GTA 6 a console exclusive with exclusive content. They could completely flip the Call of Duty marketing deal to Xbox forever. Make Xbox the home of fighting games. Now, there's so much stuff Xbox needs to do.
Oh, bro, get the GTA 6. Yeah, JD, good shout. Go get GTA 6 exclusive. Tell them, go pee off. We'll offer you, here's 10 billion. Just give it to us. And just watch Sony cry. Do it.
I mean, they would do the same if they could afford it. I really think the PlayStation would do it. I really think PlayStation would totally, if they could, they would get GTA 6 some sort of exclusivity deal of some sort. I was going to say the YouTube thing has been kind of strange, and we've been talking a lot about there's a lot of people that like to watch shorts, and they've moved to TikTok to see people like flip pancakes and chase raccoons around and whatever people are doing on TikTok. That doesn't fit like what I do on YouTube, but I've decided to start a new series on my channel called What Makes This Game Great. So be on the lookout for something like that. It's going to come probably in the next month. Sounds like Hargeet and Gaz are also doing something similar. But yeah, I just have this this passion that a couple generations ago, games really hit. Like really hit, So I want to cover that, and we can look into the future how some of those things can come into our time now. And check out my video about Halo. What's that?
Nice. Your new video series. That's amazing. I've been telling you for ages, do that stuff. That's wicked.
So some of the reactive news, there's a lot of great things to talk about. So I want to kind of experiment with get that production and that stuff. Red Wolf says, when do you think the AB Key deal will close?
Summer next year.
He's making fun of my EB Kiwi. EB Kiwi is what I'll call it from now on. But Happy Bomb, put your sauce video link in the chat. You can see it right down there. So keep an eye out here. This is episode 71 of the Excellency Podcast. We're live on the Colt Eastwood channel. You can check out and watch the gameplay, watch Gaz and I's facial expressions, watch when I go, what'd you say? And all those moments. We're also on Spotify and Google and Apple Podcasts, where most people listen to the show. That goes up on demand at around 9 o'clock Pacific time once everything's processed through. Thanks for everybody who are checking out that show. Gaz, thank you so much for being here. I had so much fun today. Let's do it again next week, and get me on your show when you have a free spot.
I always do, you piece of...
We got 500 likes, and thanks to 900 some people who checked out the show. We're gonna get out of here, and I'm gonna eat dinner. Gaz is gonna go to bed. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Gaz, thank you so much for sacrificing your health, safety, and sanity being here today, bro. You're the best. You're the best. All right, we're getting out of here. See ya.
I'm naked again.